You've been at my house now for a while.
Pizza party.
We literally just watched. That's right, folks. It's an abbreviated episode, a special episode of Mostly Superheroes. It's only
The meat.
And we're talking about The Incredible Hulk, wrapping up the MCU rewatch. This is the final movie for us in real life. We've watched them all.
Except we forgot to talk about one.
Except we forgot to talk about one, and we finally came around and did it. You know why we forgot, though? It's the redheaded stepchild of the MCU. It's The Incredible Hulk. Starring Edward Norton. I own this thing, and Giggler, you came over to watch it, and we ordered some Domino's.
It was great. Thank you for the pizza that
Thanks.
I just paid you for. But
Yeah, thanks for Venmoing me right when we sat down.
I mean, you brought it down like a champ with pizza, apps, cups, ice, forks, plates. You only forgot one thing, but
Just the
you killed
forks.
You killed it.
Took me 2 trips.
You've been a great host as always.
Well, we finally actually watched one of these things pretty quickly. You know, what we do is we watch them, we come in the studio, we talk about them. This time, we're coming fresh off of The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, and let's just get right into it because we got notes. You were taking notes like a frantic maniac during that thing. I loved it. And let's just kick us off. Just like we always do, let's set the stage, give you listeners at home or in your car, wherever you are. First of all, thank you for coming back to Mostly Superheroes next week on episode 25. Everything returns, fan mail, news and rumors, what you watching. I assume PC Mike will be here. Just so you know, he's all good. Had to take care of something tonight. This is the 2-episode recording week, as you guys know. So we're having a little bit of crossover, doing it a little bit differently for you, but didn't want to give you a week without any content. So this week, without further ado, for the meat. Next up and last in our MCU rewatch, the redheaded stepchild of the MCU. This one came out just 1 month after 2008's Ironman. It's the unofficial sequel to 2003's Hulk, starring Eric Bana, and takes place in the MCU right before Iron Man 2. It's the second MCU title produced by Marvel Studios, distributed by Universal Pictures. This is exactly why it's not on Disney+. This is why you can't find it anywhere, and it's also why there wasn't a solo Hulk movie anytime after this. It is the film was directed by Louis Leterrier with the screenplay by Zak Penn. It stars Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, a.k.a. the Incredible Hulk, alongside Liv Tyler and William Hurt, introducing General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. It's June 13th, 2008 at the time, and superhero movie fans were still freaking out about Iron Man, and we still went and saw this thing. Let's review it. Let's rate it. Let's talk about how it makes us feel. It's The Incredible Hulk. Had a budget of $150 million, and Andy, you were saying this is not up to most of the MCU standards out there. It made $264.8 million. Not a failure by any means, still made a dime, and we want to give that spoiler alert right now for the film. We just watched it. We're going to do this totally different today, kind of just a fresh take, some reactions, and let's talk about our favorite parts of this thing. First, I'll kind of just very quickly, we're not going to do the full 3-minute recap like we normally do because we just watched this. So I'm going to let us kind of ramble a little bit.
Do it.
But top level, this is Bruce Banner. He's a man on the run. You got a general that's after him. He wants his blood so that he can make more of the Incredible Hulk. And it's the journey of this guy coming back, reuniting with Betty Ross, General Ross's daughter, a big fight against another Hulk called the Abomination. The Hulk comes out on top. He wins, but he does go on the run at the end of this movie. That's the Incredible Hulk.
That was incredible. That was like 3 sentences of a 2-hour movie.
And maybe we'll get to that for most of our films. We'll just do like 10-second recaps. Either way, I want to start hearing some of your favorite parts because I gave you a notepad and I even said like,
yeah, this is clutch.
You like this, right?
Every week.
It's kind of like a form. And I said, here's your form.
I feel like I'm in school again.
It said, fill out your top 5 parts. There's a little section for your notes.
Submit this to my teacher after the exam.
Yeah, get the Scantrons out. Why don't you hit us up? What's some of your favorite parts of this movie? I think we can just go all over the place with this.
Anytime he uses cars or anything as boxing gloves, just
utterly
ridiculous.
Anytime he picks up any car, any piece of metal, and uses it just to punch with.
He just didn't say enough, like smash enough times in this movie. That's my biggest thing.
You only really get one Hulk smash, like toward the end.
Yeah.
You're right. And he doesn't really do much talking in this, except for the part where he actually says Betty. He actually says Betty to the girl's name.
Yeah.
Liv Tyler, of
I mean,
course.
that's my biggest thing. Like my initial reaction when he turned into Hulk for the first time, I was like, wow, of how different he looks now versus then, like 13 years later. I mean, that's a lot just due to just technology that we have now, I guess, but still.
Well, still, though, this
just-
movie came out in 2008. Iron Man came out right around then. And yes, 4 years later, we see the Hulk come into the Avengers movie. And it's, of course, Mark Ruffalo. This Hulk, I mean, it's just, he looks he's miles better than the Eric Bana Hulk. Didn't you just say you had a bad time trying to rewatch that recently?
I gave it 5 minutes. That was all I could take.
It's bad. And it looks rough, too. This one at least looks okay. I think his face looks a little weird. He's got like the stretchy muscles going on, like his stretch is like his chest.
He looks a little bit just too much like the actual the villain in this. Like he makes, I feel like now he looks more humanish as the Hulk and not like a Hulk, I guess.
Well, Mark Ruffalo also has just a softer face than Edward Norton.
That's true.
But I'd
Softer
also argue.
face.
I'd also argue. Yeah,
please tweet him that.
Yeah, you got that soft face, Mark Ruffalo. You got the soft face Hulk. It's a lot more friendly though. Good for kids. This one's, you're right. He looks like terrifying.
Like now that our Twitter's back, you need to tweet
at Mark Ruffalo
and Edward Norton.
You know, I want to get like a Hulk battle going online to see who thinks is the better Hulk. I want to see Edward Norton come out and say like, it should have been me.
I wonder what his thoughts are now.
How do you think he did in this movie as Bruce Banner? Like, really, we just watched this thing. I'm feeling a little, I'm just going to be honest, we'll rate this thing at the end, but I'm feeling a little underwhelmed by the movie. I felt it dragging a lot, but I do feel like it has some big banger parts. I really like the fight scene at the university where they bring out those big sonic cannons.
That's my favorite part.
Pretty good. That was on your favorite part list?
Yes. That's my number one favorite part.
That's your number one? I think it's mine too. When they fight in the field, you get the Abomination before he's the Abomination, the soldier guy.
Where he probably should have stopped.
Yeah, this guy. Let's talk about the villain, I guess, of this story. The first villain is probably General Ross, the big guy that's coming after Bruce Banner. But then he creates this super soldier basically right in front of us, which you said it best, Andy. Seems like in this movie, you could have made super soldiers the whole time.
Yes.
All you had to do was get your hands on a little bit of Bruce Banner's blood and then make copies.
Like, exactly. Like we just said, couldn't you just take Captain America's blood? What's the difference?
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, Steve Rogers was in S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, you probably could have walked right up to him and been like, hey, we're going to take a little bit of your blood today.
Just a little paper cut real quick.
But the bad guy in this, man, I forget the guy's name. I should have wrote it down. But he's the soldier. He's the guy they bring in to try out a new super soldier serum. He gets a little bit tougher, right? He can, like, fight the Hulk kind of hand to hand. But then he gets, like, crazy about it. And he's like, I want to look like the Hulk. And they're like, why do you want to look like the Hulk? He's like, I love to fight. I love to fight. Even if I have bones coming out of my elbows, my back.
Bones coming out of my other bones.
Bones coming out
just
of bones.
Growing bones just randomly.
He's like, I want to look like the Hulk, but I want to have all my bones on the outside. All the outside bones.
I want to be uglier.
Yeah, he looks like he literally has a skull face. Let's talk about some of the other main parts you have. I didn't write down any of mine, so go ahead. Let's see
I love the comic accurate pants joke. I mean, it's so cheesy, but they have to do it.
She buys him the purple pants.
Yeah, you have to do it.
Says, can't. No, I'm not going to wear those.
I mean, that's the thing. Wasn't that in the Eric Bana one, like the color that his pants were? In the movie?
He had the purple shorts. He also fought Hulk dogs in that movie.
I did not see that part. Might have to give it another watch. Lou Ferrigno, thank you.
Oh yeah, Lou Ferrigno cameo in this thing. I'll give it up for it. The original, the OG, the biggest. That's how you know Lou Ferrigno. That's how I've always known Lou Ferrigno. He was the Incredible Hulk. I didn't really ever watch the show though. Did you?
No.
Or the
I'm aware of it. Like I've seen clips of it, but like I never watched it as like a kid or anything.
Well, he comes in. He's a security guard. And he's like, you know what? You can go in if you give me this pizza. And he's like, gives up his whole. He's like, you can go inside. I don't care. Just give me this pizza.
Love pizza. You bribe me with pizza.
Yeah. Well, we had it tonight.
Is there still some left over?
There's still some pizza over there. We had a little bit of Hawaiian tonight, and we also had a 3-meat. We had
the pizza.
We also did the specialty chicken. Thanks Domino's. Unofficial sponsor here. Let's see. Let's talk about some notable connections in this thing. Like I said, this is. The redheaded stepchild of the MCU. Why? I kind of said it in the opening remarks, but again, this property is a distribution deal owned by Universal, produced by Marvel Studios. And here's the agreement. I have a little article that I pulled up from Screen Rant, and the link is in our description today. Basically, the distribution deal, these were the terms. Marvel can use the Hulk, and they can make Hulk stuff, but they can't make a Hulk-titled movie. So they said no Hulk-titled movies after, like, unless Universal's involved, and they own the distribution. So this is why it's not on Disney Plus. It's also why there's not any solo Hulk movie after this. But they do continue the Hulk storyline with Mark Ruffalo coming through the Avengers and a bunch of other movies. So it's like you kind of like you never were gonna get that solo film, and but they did a recast too, right? It's like why did they make this change from Edward Norton? Andy, I was telling you, it seemed like it actually came down to creative differences mainly between Norton and Feige, where Norton wanted to have like more creative control, and I think it was just like a clash of creative visions is all it was.
Yeah, I would be interested to see how he thinks about that now. But
Yeah, I would love to hear.
No matter what, Mark Ruffalo is awesome.
Oh, Mark Ruffalo came in. Happy to be here.
I don't think I even knew who Mark Ruffalo was until he was Hulk. So
I don't mean either. I mean, what was he in before that? Nothing that we know of.
I don't know. But that's the thing. They just like always hit it out of the park with casting just about every time.
Yeah,
like,
they did.
What's a terrible casting move that they made? I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, really.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's like they nail all of them. That's what Marvel does. It's how they brought Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man. This Edward Norton, man, I thought he did fine, but it's focusing on this movie, The Incredible Hulk, just really trying to feel how like I felt about it. I just felt like I said it to you a couple times during. I felt like I was watching a movie that like it definitely helps to be a Marvel fan if you watch this. Like the opening credit scene is kind of like the origin story, even though, like I said, unofficially the sequel to 2003's Eric Bana. You watch that movie, you watch this movie, it seems like it picks like right back up a little bit. But it's just it dragged a little bit. I feel like you don't get a ton of Hulk. You get like a little bit in the beginning, where they all attack him in South America, but he's kind of in the shadows. Then they fight at the university, but then like they fight at the end, the big fight against Abomination, and it's kind of the 3 times you see him. But I will say that in fight, it kind of almost brings it back for you.
Yeah,
because it was pretty good.
It was great. No, that was the only reason why it wasn't my favorite part was just because I don't know. I just like enjoy that scene with the daughter and how that kind of busted open the rest of the movie. Betty Ross. Yeah,
Betty Ross.
Yeah. I honestly, like, I don't think I said this yet, but I don't think I've watched this movie for like 10 years probably. So this was almost like seeing it for the first time again. Like I completely forgot.
You were cracking me up. You were like, is she dead? Is she dead? In the first,
I literally couldn't remember.
I was like, haven't you seen this? You were like, wait a minute. So wait, I think I remember this. I was like, I remembered it too well. I guess I watched it. I've probably seen this movie. That's probably the 10th time I've seen it.
Oh wow, yeah, I've seen it maybe 3 now.
But now that I'm thinking about it and watching it today, I feel like I only watched it because it was part of the MCU rewatch. I
understand.
I was like, okay, I'll watch Iron Man, then I'll watch this because let's just jump to it. End credit scene. It's not even an end credit scene. It's part of the movie. Even though I think it may have been, it used to be the end credit scene.
They moved it again.
Listen, man, you've watched movies with me now. I have pretty good memory when it comes to movies.
It's uncanny. It's the most impressive.
Like Justice League, when we watched Snyder Cut, that was weird. It was like, wait a minute, I remember like every part of the Justice League.
Yep.
Either way, I think this may have been an end credit scene. Either way, Robert Downey Jr. comes in, says to General Ross, "We're building a team." And I said it. I feel like it doesn't make total sense because in Iron Man 2, Tony Stark's like not even about the Avengers. But after Iron Man 1, Tony Stark has just talked to Nick Fury at the end credit scene. And maybe, maybe he did go talk to him. Again, this movie, Incredible Hulk, came out only 5 or 6 weeks after Iron Man. I can't even...
That's crazy to me.
It's crazy to me, too, because you think about that. That was 2008. I remember going to see Iron Man in theaters.
Like, go back and tell young Logan, like, hey, this is going to be a 25-movie masterpiece with shows, and then who knows what's going to come from there. But
still...
just pretty coal to think about.
It is very cool, but I do think that like I get the sense with this movie that like Kevin Feige came in a little late to where they're like they already had this kind of half polished Incredible Hulk movie at Universal, and he was like, "Hold on, guys, you guys have no idea what we're planning, and I need to come in here and like fight you this thing. Which, I mean, you can tell, like, they Easter egg some really great stuff in here. Stark Industries is mentioned throughout the movie. You also get some Shield references, like the Shield logo that looks just like the Shield logo they use in all of the MCU. Nick Fury's name's actually on some documents in the beginning of the movie.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So they're doing a lot of this connecting. They're bringing it in. But I told you, man, if you're not us, like MCU fans, and you're like, I'm just going to watch this Hulk movie, I don't think you're going to have a great time.
You might not have a great time even if you do enjoy all these movies.
Yeah, you can hear me. I'm like hemming and hawing over it. Do you already have your rating? Have you done it yet?
Yeah, I have it written down.
All right, let's save it for let's say it for a minute. Let's do a couple more connections. Got a Stan Lee cameo in the movie, of course. He drinks that soda pop.
Sad one.
Yeah. It was like the one where he drinks the soda. Bruce Banner's blood's in it. That's how they find him. And then the camera cuts away, and I'm like, so Stan Lee's dead.
Or he's a Hulk.
Stan Lee hulked out. I would need to see that on screen. What else? Captain America Super Soldier Serum. We talked about it, but this thing, we're talking about some connections here. This movie takes a different approach with the Super Soldier Serum. Like, it's kind of more about pulling it out of the Hulk and then making it into a weapon. And to Andy's point, we have just never seen anybody really trying to take that approach with Captain America. It's just like he's the Hulk, so we're trying to capture him. This General Ross has like a personal vendetta against Bruce Banner because he dated his daughter, I guess. Like, why is he so mad at the Hulk? It's like he's a good guy, and if you just leave him alone, he's all chill.
Just wants his blood.
Just wants his blood.
Whatever.
He wants it so badly that he actually helps and creates the bad guy of the movie, the Abomination.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I didn't even think about that. That's the whole premise of like this is way off topic right now, but Isaiah Bradley, I guess they were taking his blood in the past.
Yeah, they were experimenting on him.
Okay, so yeah.
But probably, I mean, if they're doing that, they're taking his blood.
Yeah.
Trying to replicate.
Yeah, just to correct ourselves, because that was a...
Well, the reason we're saying this is because in the Incredible Hulk movie, this Norton film, the scientist that helps him, Dr. Blue or whatever, Mr. Blue, Dr. Green, Mr. Blue, Mr. Green. I don't know that actor's name, but he's the guy that ends up helping Bruce Banner in this movie. He has literally got a whole cooler, like a room full of his blood. Exactly. And Bruce is like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just made copies of it.
Just concentrated it
and
reproduced it. No big deal."
And he's like, Bruce Banner, Edward Norton goes, "We got to destroy all this tonight." Like, it's not like I don't think they've ever copied Steve Rogers' blood. Yeah. What else we got? Other connections here. So kind of sad, for Liv Tyler. If she was hoping to be in the MCU, she's not. And they just said, we're not even going to address this in the future movies. However, they kind of do. So her name's Betty in the film. I did a little digging. Again, I had this Screen Rant article that helped us out. It turns out that Veronica in Avengers Age of Ultron, you might remember, this is where Tony and Bruce Banner with Mark Ruffalo build this computer AI defense system called Veronica, which is like for worst case scenario of the Hulk, if the Hulk decides to bust out again. Well, apparently Veronica is like code name for like this 3-person team that was like Betty, Ross, Bruce Banner, and like someone else they worked with. So like that is maybe the only callback of like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk going, Bruce Banner going, we named her Veronica because, but like,
otherwise zero reference, right?
Otherwise, then you can assume there's no reference to this woman. And he's like, I don't care. Who else we got? General Ross, of course. So this is the introduction of General Ross in this movie. I said his name earlier, played by William Hurt. And we see this guy in all sorts of movies after this. He's in the Captain America Civil War. He's actually moved up to Secretary of State. He talks to the Avengers. And we also see him in Avengers Infinity War. He's working with War Machine. And then he's at, I don't want to give a spoiler here, but he's at a funeral in Avengers Endgame. I'll just say that.
Wow. That's a good call.
Thanks.
And that is a lot of movies that he's in that I honestly kind of forgot about.
And there's a lot more fun connection than that in this movie that you would never even think of. Let's just go ahead and jump to the hilarious one. Roger Harrington. This is Martin Starr. You might know Martin Starr from Silicon Valley. Or, if you know him in this movie, he's an intern, dorky little intern, named Roger Harrington, who grows up to become the teacher of Peter Parker in the Tom Holland Spider-Man films Homecoming and Far From Home. Same actor, same character. Oh my God.
I have no words.
I went down rabbit holes on this on the internet. I'll just say this. This guy has a whole storyline just as much as like the Hulk does. From the lines in Spider-Man, he clues you into his past. Like there's a part in Spider-Man Homecoming where he's like, get on the bus, kids. He's like, I can't lose another kid on a field trip. Not again. So apparently he like lost that.
Ridiculous.
In Spider-Man Far From Home, it's post-blip. And he's telling the kids, he's like, I tell you guys how my wife fake blipped. He's like, yeah, we had a fake funeral for her and everything. Well, he's like, the funeral was real. She pretended that she got dusted and just left him. This guy's hilarious. But, man, you would think, I mean, of the Incredible Hulk, a character from the second MCU film, that Spider-Man,
like
Far From Home, that's the last movie in Phase 3.
They did that on purpose.
That's got to be intentional.
I don't know.
I'm according. This is all internet, like from like Reddit forums and just.
I hope it
down.
is. I love that actor,
Roger Harrington. If you're a diehard fan and you've known this, or if you want to do some digging for us, let us know. And of course, you know, I already mentioned Nick Fury, Captain America. The big one though, let's just talk about Bruce Banner. This is kind of the big question I know people talk about when these Hulk movies come up. I wanted to address it right here, right now on the show, in case you just need to know. There is a pretty linear story for Bruce Banner. If you do watch, I don't recommend it, but you could watch the 2003 Hulk movie, Eric Bana. Next would come The Incredible Hulk, this one with Edward Norton, the one we're talking about today, 2008. Next up would be The Avengers. This is where Mark Ruffalo makes his debut. Iron Man 3 end credit scene. He's actually talking to Tony there.
Wow.
Avengers Age of Ultron plays a big role there. Thor Ragnarok continues that storyline, and it goes right into Avengers Infinity War, the Captain Marvel end credit scene, and then Avengers Endgame, and then we can guess that, and I believe it's been rumored, that he will be in She-Hulk, the Disney Plus series that comes out in 2022.
Maybe he's in Loki.
That's so true. Like, that's why it's a definite guess, because, like, hey, he could be in anything.
Anyone could be in Loki.
Anyone.
In the whole
multiverse.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. I'm going to be using this Marvel encyclopedia any day now.
You know, also what's crazy is that by the time this airs, except for even for Patreon, I guess.
Yeah.
Everyone will have watched the first episode of Loki.
Yeah, you're listening now, and you're like, I thought you guys would be talking about Loki right now. Well, that's coming on Monday.
Yes.
Mostly Mondays.
Clarify that.
That's good to know, because you're right, because that is, yeah, we're talking to ourselves right now, and we've seen Loki.
Should we do predictions?
Well, let's finish up this movie
after this.
First.
I mean, yeah.
Well, we can do that.
Just had that idea pop in my head. I don't want to forget about it.
No, we need to, because for us, it's in 2 days.
Yeah. Can't wait.
All right, we'll nerd out. All right, let's finish up The Incredible Hulk, this beeline MCU film, but it's an MCU film nonetheless, and we want to pay it respect, talk about it. I think we covered all the connections, all the things you want to see. Again, thanks to Screen Rant again for the article. Giggler, any final thoughts, and let's hear that rating.
Just one of my top parts I forgot to talk about. I don't have a lot of room here, so I'm adjusting to the new space.
The new space, yeah.
The Hulk clap.
Oh, you mean the Hulk clap?
Yep, when he just decided, I've never done this before, but I'm going to clap and put out a whole fire.
Yeah, the helicopter
it's about to explode.
Fire. It's going to explode. He thinks on his feet, creates enough wind to knock this thing out. Any other favorite parts that were missing? I guess I like that doctor whenever he makes the abomination, the guy that was helping Bruce Banner. He falls on the ground and there's blood dripping on his head and it starts to grow.
Whatever happened to that guy?
Exactly. We never found out. I don't think. I mean, they led us to believe that was going to be like a new villain or something.
I mean, he could be like a blue Hulk.
A blue Hulk?
He's Mr. Blue.
He could be. And I have also heard rumors that not even rumors. I feel like it's in the comics that Thunderbolt Ross becomes like the Red Hulk at a certain point. Ooh. How crazy would that be?
That was one of the other moments I missed. Just the fact that we've seen that name. He's been in the movies that you talked about, but it's not someone you think about all the time potentially being up. But we've heard his name mentioned so much because of Falcon and Winter Soldier and rumors about all that, where that's heading. So
yeah, and there's rumors about the Thunderbolts.
Where are we going to see him next and how much?
And maybe he'll be interacting with characters like Deadpool. Yeah, who knows? What about that rating? Let's go ahead and do it. Let's wrap this thing up. The Incredible Hulk, hit us.
2.5.
I thought about booing. But...
It's the lowest I've ever probably put for an MCU movie.
Do you want to elaborate? Is it like just
like you said, like it just didn't, like, there was a few good scenes, but the rest was just kind of blah.
Yeah.
Like it just didn't keep me super entertained the whole time.
Yeah.
Like they usually do. But I mean,
again,
still overall a movie that I probably will watch a few times more in my life, but who knows?
Yeah, you'll watch it again.
Like when you do the full rewatch, but like if this is on TV, it's not something I'm even gonna think about turning on.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like this is a movie that drags a little bit. That kind of was a couple studios that had to come together and finish a vision that I think was already half baked or quarter baked, even maybe not a lot, but something that they had to kind of they had the pieces of, and I think they were like, well, we're already making this Hulk movie again. Kevin Feige came in, made it MCU. You can feel the tonality of it a little bit. It gets a little MCU sometimes, but sometimes it just kind of goes off the rails, and I'm like, what's this music? I feel like I'm trying to watch like a Batman ripoff or something. Like there were parts I told you where it felt like we were in the Joker's warehouse. Like it was just the Hulk's in shadows. I don't think there's near enough Hulk in this movie. That's always been the problem too.
It's expensive CGI.
It is.
Honestly, I guarantee that's the biggest reason why.
But I mean, Iron Man was 6 weeks before it, and it looked amazing. But either way, the Hulk's a whole different beast, and it took him 4 years to come out and do this thing right. I did enjoy this movie. I'm with you. Rewatchability, never on its own, absolutely. Maybe for MCU rewatches. Other than that, I'm going to go right around you, man, and give this thing just a hair higher, a 2.6.
Not bad.
Not bad. Those are the connections. And, folks, that is it. Check it out.
But, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, there's a reason why we forgot about it, probably. Like,
yeah,
that's what you have to say in closing.
Well, and you got to, and like, I say that I'll watch it for my MCU rewatch, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Like, we watched them all.
Oops.
And then I was like, we're done. And then I was like, wait a minute. It was in the middle of an episode.
I did the same thing. Like, I legitimately was like, one day I was like, oh, I got to figure out how to watch that movie. And then the next day I was just like, just go to the next one.
And if you're wondering where to watch this thing, I already owned it, but you have to rent it or buy it. YouTube, iTunes, Apple TV, Vudu, Google Play, Amazon Prime. You can rent it or buy it from any of those. The only way it will end up on Disney Plus one day is if Disney and Universal Studios can come to an agreement, similar to what is going to happen with all the Spider-Man films. Sony has, I think, finally signed something that said, yes, you can have them on Disney Plus for probably, $20 billion or something. I have no idea how much. Exactly. Don't quote me on that amount. But, folks, that's our last one. The second MCU film ended up being our last one for the MCU library. It's all happening at mostlysuperheroes.com/MCU. Reviews, connections, everything you need to know for these films. This is the place to find it. Mostly Superheroes is helping you out.